Hey, I can't hear your mic's muted, Johnny.
Oh,
There you go.
Lord. That's cool. That was a great intro. Yeah, it was fun. Oh, Lord of mercy. See, this is why we do this test.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, that was a good time. And that was actually a good run, too. Actually, like didn't really stumble on my words too much. But okay. Well, anyways, for you all who can now hear me and are not my dogs laying next to me, my name is Jonathan Calloway. This is Tvshka Productions, and we are clearly a startup company and clearly working out some of the finer details of producing. And so really what we're doing right now is we're going to talk about the COVID-19 impact on the film industry. And so with us right now is my good friend from middle school and high school, Adam Roberts.
Hey, John.
Hey,
I can hear you perfectly clear now.
Oh my gosh, man.
I was like, he's doing it. Whatever he's doing, he's going at it. He doesn't give a shit.
Right? Oh my gosh, man, I was killing it. I really was. Yeah. Hopefully there's like an internal recording and I can actually just, dub that in later or something. But
yeah.
But hey, man, so thank you so much for coming on. For the three people watching, including my mom. Hi, Mom. Just kind of tell us kind of what you growing up with film. What made you love it? What made you latch on to that? And currently, what are you doing with it?
I mean, I don't know. I guess I was a child of my parents would copy movies off HBO. I watched whatever the hell like mixtapes we had. People made mixtapes with music, but a lot of people using that long LP function on tapes would record like 2 or 3 or 4 movies on, depending on their length, on a tape. So I'd watch all sorts of movies like kind of as a double feature growing up, and that's just kind of how I thought they were. It was like the HBO would come up before, and then it was whatever the hell movie. And then that kind of transferred into my love of going to the video store. And I would say most of my childhood was like me looking forward to going to the video store on like a Friday night. And then that led to me like building a video collection, like going to, as much as I always loved music, that was more like my dad and my brother's things. I would go over to the films at like Best Buy, because that was like the only place we could really buy them at the time. There's no Amazon or anything like that. And at the time it was all tapes, and I remember just like looking for the deep cuts that you couldn't even rent, And at the time, like tapes were like creating special features, so it's kind of funny. They would have like either alternate cuts or they'd have like interview with the filmmakers after the feature or whatever it was, and it wasn't like a Blu-ray or DVD where you could just skip to the special features. You had to watch the whole movie or fast forward through it just to get whatever bonus content you wanted. But it was really just falling in love with just cinema, and a lot of it was from my house. And then as I got older, it became going to the theaters and seeing all these. Going to the theater was an event, and it was a place you can kind of escape everything. The lights would shut down, and it was just like this kind of special experience for a kid growing up. And then that led to me wanting to make movies, and I started doing that when I was like 15 or 16.
Yeah.
And I never really stopped that love of just like seeing movies and making movies and interacting, kind of doing everything I can with film. And then like many young adults from 20 to 25, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I bounced back and forth through a number of different like tech jobs and corporate America and
H&R Block.
H&R Block and Sprint. And I just, like the both staples of Kansas City. The only one I didn't work for was Cerner. Those were all like the big Kansas City tech staples. And I just like felt that they were so soulless and not for me. And that cubicle life wasn't for me. And I was kind of like at the, crossroads of what do I want to do with my life. I had already like spent a bunch of money and bought a bunch of film equipment, thinking that I would just like make commercials and weddings. And then I did that for about a year, and I just hated it. And I was like, this is not what I want to do. I don't want to get into that monetization of my creative soul, I guess. And so that eventually led to the opportunity to take over the Armour Theater, which at the time was kind of struggling with its identity and what it wanted to be. It was a 2-screen movie theater in a historic Kansas City theater, which when I was growing up wasn't really around. It was closed as a movie theater from 1990 to 2008 when it became the Screenland Armour. So most of my whole life, was closed and shuttered. And then I took it over in 2012, August of 2012, and had never worked in a movie theater. This was working at Hollywood Video and working in a video store, which when I worked at was just turning into DVDs, So it's kind of funny. Like that was like the world I was living in. But I never like seen a projector in real life and never like touched film. Certainly never like ran a film or even, you know, any of that. So, but I worked in restaurants and bars, and I feel like, well, what is a movie theater if not like partly a restaurant and bar? And then I love movies, and I think I have good taste. So it's like a combination of like myself as a film lover and what I think the audiences want to see, and then running a restaurant and bar. So certainly it was a lot more than that. But I borrowed a little bit of money from my grandfather, and very little money. You know, we didn't have to. We basically subleased all the equipment those first couple of years, so we bought our own, and we were all on film. So it came with the space essentially, and the space was only 4.5 years old at that point. So it was in pretty good condition. You know, it wasn't like, it took, I think, 2 years for it to really like feel like ours and like put our mark on what it was. But that was pretty much it. I mean, just kind of stumbled into it, and people seemed to like what I was showing and the types of marketing and films and just the programming we were doing. And then now it's 2020, so I guess it's been 8 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's been a minute, man. Yeah. You talk about Hollywood Video. Good Lord, man.
Yeah, that's a deep cut for a lot of people.
I wonder if you worked at Hollywood Video the same time I worked at Blockbuster.
Maybe. I think I was. I think it was like
2007. I think whenever I worked there.
Oh, that'd have been before. That'd have been after my time. Mine was like towards high school. It was like, it would have been like
405.
2002, I think. 2003.
Okay, man. Like, early high school.
I got like when I was 16, I think I got a job there. Like when I didn't have to work in a grocery store or like some crap like that, I moved over to Hollywood Video, which I thought was my dream job. But you know, the management was just a nightmare.
Right,
so,
man. If it just had good management, and the Blockbuster as well, like I think those could still be a thing.
Yeah,
I think so. they just try to carbon copy and just shove it down people, and it's like, man, like if you like you've done, you've created culture. So you have people that follow you, they're on your Patreon, and you know they attend live events and such. But you've developed this culture of people that, you know, that's what they're there for. Like they love the movies, they like the drinks and the food, but they're there for that culture, that experience that you create. And it's like, I really feel like with the movies or with the rentals, like if that still could have been a thing for a little bit longer, if they actually would have built that culture instead of it just being super corporate. It's like, hey, how do you doing? Do you like movies? Okay, hey, give us $50 a month, please. You know.
Yeah, I think they lost their way for sure. Like around like 2007 and 8, I think they really didn't know how to survive. Which, you know, really it was like the peak was the 90s. I think like you see a movie like Empire Records, while being about record store, is the same pretty much experience working at a video store was, you know, or at least that's how I treated a lot of us at Hollywood Video treated it. You know, we were much smaller, but we were the number 2, you know, the biggest chain in the country, but we all treated it like, this is the best job I could ever had. Like, here's my extensive film knowledge. Like, I've seen everything. Let me give you the recommendations. And that's what they always should have been. But then, like, I think their corporate policies and, you know, their goal of this crusade of being everywhere in every tiny town and buying up every store.
Yeah,
they just lost their way. I mean, kind of similarly, honestly, what AMC has been doing. Like they're just kind of flailing in a way that, like, probably by and large doesn't look like it. Like from the outside looking in, it looked like Blockbuster was doing well. Like they even had like an online streaming portal coming. They had, like the old Netflix where they would ship to your house. You could drop out in the store. You could do all sorts of combination of things. It's pretty cool. But they just kind of lost their way. And you know, right now AMC has kind of been doing the same thing where it's very expensive to buy equipment and to upgrade theaters, like seats and concessions. And, you know, it's just, you know, people are curious, like, why does popcorn and soda cost so much? Well, you don't really make a lot on tickets. You have to sell a ton of tickets to make anything off of movie tickets. I got a cat here. So you have to sell an astronomical amount of tickets really to make it, because I mean, basically how the ticket breakdown works, for those who don't know, is let's say our ticket is $10, and this goes for any new movie. Like we don't pay to get like to get Star Wars. You don't pay up front to get it. you pay a percent of tickets. So of that ticket, so of $10, Disney would get 68% of the ticket, right? So let's just round it up a little bit. So it'll say 7 of the $10 are going to Disney, but of the $10, we're going to pay sales tax on the whole thing. So our sales tax is just under 10%. So we'll say $1. So $8 is gone immediately. So we're making $2 a person, which isn't very great when you're considering that like a lot of people might only buy a ticket and nothing else, or they try to sneak stuff in, or whatever the case. So if I'm making $2 only, if everyone who came into a movie to see a theater only bought a ticket and didn't buy anything else, we would make no money. You know, like just the overhead of employees. We don't even have that many employees, but just the overhead alone of rent. You know, our rent is, we have like 18,000 square feet. It's we pay like $13,000 or $14,000 a month for our rent. It's crazy. So you know, you need 6,000 or 7,000 people alone of that for those $2 tickets to just pay our rent, which doesn't really work out to that because we don't have the numbers that the big chains do. And you have AMC that's just buying, you know, other chains. They're just trying to get everywhere and as big as possible. But at the same time, they're trying to rehab these theaters, put new seats in, put new projection in, and then like their biggest theaters, they're, you know, the ones that are doing gangbuster monies, they're trying to always do that. Like every 2 to 6 years, they're trying to put a new projection or new sound or new screens. So they have the bells and whistles, which I'll just be honest, like I don't care. I never cared about 3D. I don't care about IMAX. Like Atmos is a gimmick. Like they're all like kind of 3D gimmicks, and they're to drive tickets up and to the illusion that the movie itself might be better, which isn't the case. The movie is, whether you're seeing it on, you know, a 15-foot screen in 2D on, you know, a 2K projection, or you're seeing it on a 50-foot screen in 3D 4K diamond projection with Atmos, the movie is still the same. Like you're not changing what happens on screen with the story or how it's made. You're just changing the bells and whistles, right?
But Adam, you get to see 5% more of the outer area you would have never seen. It's like, yeah, I'm with you. It's like, I mean, it's fun. It's an experience, but yeah, it's just, it is a little bit gimmicky.
Yeah, I mean, well, and it's you know, the people who love IMAX, it's, if you like that, you know, larger than life you know, screen, you can sit closer in a regular screen. You truly can. You can get that, but you don't want to sit in the front row. So it's funny, like those people, they love the big screen, but they don't want to sit in the front row, so they sit halfway back in those ginormous IMAX screens. And the screen now is, because it's all perspective, now you're further back. The screen isn't as big. It's just, it's you're back to this. You know, it's very funny. Like, and not everything's shot in true IMAX or 70 millimeter or anything like that. So you're not really getting, you're paying $20+ for a ticket, and you know they're making hand over fist. But the movie itself doesn't change. So just like anything else, like wherever you spend your money makes a world of difference. Like if you choose to see it on a local theater versus the big theaters, even if they don't have all the bells and whistles, but if you like that experience, like we're no frills. We don't have 20 minutes of commercials before 20 minutes of previews. It's pretty insane. Like to go to some chain theaters now, you go through, at least up here in Kansas City, which is like where AMC is headquartered. It's a nightmare being one of the only small theaters here. You know, we're one of two, the only one on the Kansas City, Missouri side, but it's insane. But we see all the stuff first because they're piloting it here, and they have, you know, it's self-checkout, so they've taken personalization away completely from even buying popcorn. Like now you walk through like a cattle maze, basically, buy all this memorabilia they want you to buy and your kids to see, and they're like, all right, buy this Spider-Man action figure and this bobblehead, and then buy this popcorn, and then and wait in a long line, or you can pay $20 a month and not wait in that line and still pay that, and then you want a beer now, go over here and buy a beer in a separate line. And it's like, holy shit. But if you don't get there like an hour early, you're going to be waiting, you know, you're going to miss your movie, even though you got 40 minutes of commercials and trailers. But back to like Blockbuster and AMC, like they're going through the same thing just because their debt ratio is so high, because they're spending so much money buying all these things, trying to keep themselves relevant. And, you know, they've gotten too big. And when we're all closed right now, you know, it's hard for us as a 4-screen single complex theater. I couldn't imagine having the most locations with all this debt. And, you know, they just had a $4 billion, debt loss last year. So they were already hurting, and then it was a hard stop. They're not going to close. There's no world that exists where a company that big, you know, fails. But certainly a number of locations won't open again. They'll certainly be much smaller. They'll have to sell a lot of stuff out, and they won't we won't ever see, oh, hey, Tyler Gillies in here. Hey, buddy.
Tyler Gilly. Oh man, what's up, brother?
Yeah, but you won't see that. They will never return. And that'll go for a lot of people like Cinemark and Regal and, the Harkins theaters and all these other ones that are, the top 10 theater chains. It'll be very hard to return to that level that they were at when we all closed. But so that's a long-winded answer of where did I fall into movies and kind of how I got to where I am. But I think I probably hit on a lot of things you were going to ask me at the same time.
Yeah, no, you're good. We're good. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, we'll see you. No, I'm just kidding. So kind of jumping back though. So AMC struggling before COVID-19. So it looks like they may get bought out and such. But for you as a small business owner and for a small theater, what does it look like for you? What adjustments are you making as a company to try to fulfill your debts basically? I know they have the payment protection program and the economic injury disaster loan with SBA you can take advantage of, but that's the boring stuff. What are you doing? I know you got a few things that you're kind of working on right now. So
yeah, just real quick, but like everything that's out there from the CARES Act that was passed is not true relief for anybody. It would be if we were a major corporation and we had a huge payroll, then it would be an actual relief. We'd get a little bit of money from that. But, quite frankly, we have 25 employees. A lot of them are part-time. We have 8 full-time employees. And how that CARES Act breaks out is it's not really great for self-employed. So, we're not technically included yet. Likely they'll change the CARES Act to include us in some level of it. So with the payroll protection, we're not counted as employees, so we don't get to pay ourselves. We have to bring back, if you're approved for the PPP loan, you're required to bring back your employees if they're furloughed within 10 days or you lose it. That's fine, but for us, there's not a big movie coming out until July 24th. That's the next movie. That's a long time away from right now. So if we get approved Monday and we have to bring people back for 10 days, it's fine because we have 8 weeks of free payroll. But I know in 8 weeks they're going to be likely back on unemployment because there's no way, there's no true revenue for us. And then with the EIDL, it's just no one's getting it. Like we've applied for everything. We've worked with our bank. We had a terrific 2019. We had a good start to our 2020. So our financials were in a great place. Having said that, both of our places rely on us being open every day. Movie theaters open 365 for a reason. Their overhead isn't tremendous. Our debts are high, and we're a very small theater operation. So if we're closed for even a night, it's like, holy crap, we lose a couple $1,000, but a couple $1,000 makes a big difference. And now we're going on. This will be our 4th week. We're at day 25 or 26 right now that we've been closed at 2 of our places with not a single dollar truly coming in. Now we've done some things to mitigate that, but we've already lost probably 70 grand in revenue, right? But our bills are still coming in March, and our pay, all those things we're still hitting. And each month we need between both places, like about $45,000-$50,000 to just break even, right? That's not paying anybody. That's just paying our liabilities and our debts and our rent.
Keeping the lights on.
And with that PPP loan, all it does is really focus on the payroll aspect, which is great for some companies who can rehire people and they work from home. And if you have a huge payroll, like you're doing millions of dollars a month, it's very good. It's free money basically for 2 months for you, right? It's 8 weeks for your payroll to get paid. And if you have the ability to bring people back and they can work from home or what have you, it's great. It's a great way to keep those people employed. But for service industry like restaurants, bars, and movie theaters, or entertainment industries like concert venues, who don't know when our revenue will really start up again, it's likely not to be till sometime in June or July. It's not a good amount of relief. And then there's only a portion of rent and utilities that are forgiven. But all these things are insane because they keep billionaires. If you're a billionaire and you have 499 employees, you can apply for that same loan that I can get, essentially free money for your employees. So you have all these mega companies that are like, well, they're literally giving us free money. Why would we not apply for this? We can get up to $10 million in payroll for free, as long as we have less than 500 employees. So it's only advantageous for everybody to apply, and they are all applying, whether they're out of work or not. you're getting money to keep them employed. So you have all these companies that are just rushing to get this relief that don't even truly need it. And a lot of the smaller people, or the micro businesses and the true small businesses, people under 25 million that do need this, aren't going to be able to get it. If you're with a big bank right now, like US Bank, Bank of America, JP Morgan, Chase, any of those banks, you're probably not going to get it, because these big banks all bank with them nationwide, and they each have funding limits, and a lot of them have already hit it. So they're waiting for their funding to be restored or increased. Those loans aren't great. They're not a real relief for us.
Yeah.
Payroll isn't while it is a concern, it's not our number one priority. Our priority right now is finding a way to sustain our income for the next 3 to 4 months, when we will likely be at close to zero, not bringing in money. And while we have gotten a lot of our debts forgiven for a month or 2 months, that's all a lot of people are doing. Our landlord has given us a couple of weeks to figure out our loan situation, but that it's all means to end. Come this time in May, it's going to start showing the real issues are going to be present. People are going to want their monies, and creditors are going to come knocking, and not just for us. And they're already knocking for a lot of people in Washington and California, who've been closed much longer than we have and have been waiting on these loans. And even though our loan applications have gone through, we haven't heard a peep, and we don't know when they'll be funded. It might be a week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks. Yep. So in the interim, we were one of the first movie theaters in the nation to just rush to doing something proactively, right? So after while we were shutting everything down, my nighttime work now became, okay, well, what can we do to generate any dollars, right? Even if it's not very much, it's better than zero, right?
Yeah.
So we launched what's called a Patreon. Patreon is basically an online membership where you can join. You get to pick your tiers and your benefits. So you're basically creating an online community that's specific to each tier. So we have 3 different tiers, and basically we wanted to keep them reasonable. We have a $5, $10, and a $30, and and you can always still pay more. So if you want to pay $100 and just take the $5 tier, you can. You don't physically get anything, but you get access to a lot of content. Yeah. So what we've been doing is creating virtual watch parties, film discussions, and hangouts. We're going to have trivia nights. We're doing podcasts. We're doing blog posts. We did a live script read. We're doing and then we do short film showcases. So we're trying to do as much as we can to keep people engaged while they're at home with our theater, and further create our film community here, both abroad and in Kansas City, while making a little bit of revenue. We have just over 200 people, so their fees are relatively high. We'll make maybe $1,500 a month. Again, when we're looking at $50,000, $1,500 is nothing. But we've been doing that, and then we also launched a virtual screening room with a bunch of digital partners. So basically, people can come and rent films, and we get a portion of that ticket, the virtual ticket, by visiting our website. So we have 15 or 16 films of all types on there as well.
Yeah. So, as a small business advisor, I can't help but with the PPP and the EIDL, mm-hmm. It's not a perfect solution. And unfortunately they are kind of working on it as they go along with the details. And that's the painful part, is, the day-to-day changes. The PPP was 0.5% last week. Now it's 1% this week. What's it going to be next week? And I think they've done a genius job of basically trying to infuse as much capital as they can to jumpstart the economy and kind of keep things, limping along, and mm-hmm. then kind of have a little bit of oversight on the back end. But for the small businesses, and the self-employed and the sole proprietorships, and even, a single member LLC where they took the draw, or they just cut themselves a check. And a lot of times they only took minimum, each month, just so they could pay their personal bills, because everything they had, they're putting it into the business. Hopefully there are some answers that, come out this next week for you guys. It is painful. And, I definitely, like I mentioned earlier, man, I've watched your success as you've been going along, and, as a friend, it's made me proud. And so, so definitely, get on the Patreon. Where else can they find you, and how else can they support you?
So with the theater, everything, including Patreon information, can be found at screenlandonline.com. So that's where our virtual film library is. If wherever you are in the country, you could rent a film there. It also has information about our Patreon. And again, the Patreon is just a way for you, if you love movies and you want to interact with us, you want to talk film, you want to be entertained at home, for a couple bucks a month, you can help us out and get entertained at the same time. And then there's a way for people to buy gift cards and do donations. So again, we're just trying to keep the conversation positive. In a week or two, we'll start our filmmaker interview series. We'll have a bunch of interviews with filmmakers that we're friends with and know and chat about films with them and give people more good content. But yeah, I mean, we're all doing the same stuff. It's pretty crazy out there. I hope everyone's doing well. We're all going a little stir crazy. Fortunately, I can walk to my theater. So it's just like a 7-minute walk. So I just kind of stroll my neighborhood and get to the theater and like check the mail, make sure things aren't on fire. And, but it is weird, like when you're a small business owner, it's basically like, that's your whole life. You're running the business nonstop. You never stop thinking about it. People are calling or texting you, or you're getting emails at all hours. You're just go. Yeah. Almost for a decade, that's been my life. And now it's like a hard stop. And while I've changed to doing different stuff, and that's been kind of fun and a different change of pace, it's very hard to break the habit of, I need to answer these emails. Now, like for the first time I've literally, for the first time in 10 years, cleaned out my inbox. I have like 3 emails.
Yeah. So that's a feat in itself, man. That's a win right there.
Yeah. But thanks for having me on here. I can hang out for a few more minutes, or if you need to get the next person.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So we're talking about filmmakers, and we got a couple of producers, writers as well coming into the room, and so one of them is Josh Watts. He's a new friend of mine. Met him about 6 months ago, and they're trying to bring in film to Oklahoma, and they were kind of in some of the pre-production meetings. COVID-19 hit, kind of threw that into a little bit of a loop. But and then we also have Alex, and I apologize, Alex. I can't see your last name on it right now, but Alex Fodder. But here we go. I'm gonna pull it up. There we go.
Close.
You can see his full name there. I just know you as Alex, in all the conversations we have. But hey, welcome, guys. How y'all doing?
Doing great. Thank you very much for having us on. And it's definitely interesting times. And the unique thing is you're talking about friendships and how long you all have known each other. Alex has been one of my best friends for 20 years, something like that.
Yeah, well, Josh has liked me. I haven't always liked Josh. We're up and down. I kid. No, 20 years.
Yeah,
coming up on it.
Now, Alex, you definitely have the best background. Is that a Zoom virtual background that you added on, or what is that?
No, I'm a man. That's I got trees. I got lemon trees. I got orange trees, tangerine trees.
Man.
I got all kinds of citrus.
Yeah. That's Southern California for you.
Yeah, right.
Well, you know what's funny is I haven't actually ever used my orange tree until this whole lockdown, and I was like, I'm gonna make fresh orange juice in the morning. Why not? It's like, I don't know why I've never done that, but yeah, it's nice. Today is like the.
Oh yeah, sorry guys.
Yeah, today's the first. It's been rainy and rain. Don't let it fool you. It's been really rainy and small. Just like depressingly gray out here for like 5 days, which is I'm glad to be over it. We're back to blue skies today, and without one upside to this whole business is the air quality in Los Angeles never been clearer in my time out here. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that smog may be clearing in a lot of areas. So for you all, Adam, Josh, and Alex, for you all as writers, producers, directors, how are you using this downtime that you have? Or downtime, I guess, because I know I'm working from home. I've worked harder than ever I did at the office. But what are you guys doing nowadays?
Really?
Adam, we'll start with you.
Well, I've we like to procrastinate. I'm very busy a lot of times, so force myself to write and to get like my scripts done and to get any projects I'm working on actually moving. Is easy for me to be like, I'm just tired, or it's getting late, or I gotta get up early. So it's actually allowed me to do a lot of writing. On one script, we're about 15 pages, me and my co-writer, from finishing a feature we've been working on for about a year. I have 2 other feature scripts. I'm about a quarter way through each. I'm writing about 8 to 12 pages a day. And finished my short, which we shot a few months back. I just had some coloring and stuff to do. So trying to figure out our premiere status for that. And yeah, so it's been good. I competed in the 48-hour stay-at-home challenge last weekend, which was a fun little thing to do because you can always shoot stuff at your house. 50 filmmaker friends and myself included are remaking the horrible Tommy Wiseau film, The Room. Each of us are shooting different scenes at our house, and then they're going to edit it all together so you can see a stay-at-home version of the room.
Love it.
So yeah, that's what I've been doing. Staying busy, like making myself right, and actually having time and no excuses. So it's been good.
Awesome. Hey, Josh, what about you, brother?
Great question. So I mean, there's been a lot of things. I would say that my hustle is up. Certainly working from home, and there's a lot more hours because you touched on some great points, and we're in a unique position with our organization here in Oklahoma of being, a smaller organization. We're not enterprise. We don't have 500 employees, and the PPP, we're going to see how it turns out. We've got a great bank at Chickasaw Bank, so they're kind of walking us through the process to make sure that we do the right thing. Just to cover payroll, but I think it's a Band-Aid on a massive hemorrhage, and I think we have to get creative. And so one of the things that we're doing internally with our team is, and so you're going to start seeing some stuff out on social media, and you're going to start seeing some stuff out in kind of the general digital populace, is we want to help triage. You and I had a conversation a couple days ago about where business owners are at, and I'm one of those business owners of how do I bridge this gap? How do we pay for salaries? How do we pay for insurance? How do we pay for all the things that we want to do as a responsible employer? But I think also something that we all uniquely sit in is creativity. And I was taught early on, the word no doesn't exist in your vocabulary. So let's find creative solutions to help bridge the gap. And so one of the things we're doing as an organization is we're going to start pushing out, basically a triage kit. Call us and let's talk about it, because we were supposed to be in principal photography right now. And we had to push, potentially to Q3, Q4. We don't know what's going to happen. I don't think really anyone has a good pulse on what's happening. But what I do know is that things are going to continue, and we do a lot of work within Indian country, and so much is impacted within gaming. And so our kind of role as an organization is, how do we diversify those revenue streams? How do we continue the momentum? I think that's a big thing for a lot of us, is getting people excited and keeping that process going. So by the time this thing does pass, we are able to do that. So just as an organization, we're pushing that stuff out to just give us a call. We're not going to charge you for it. We want to figure out what your problem is, because we work, within the marketing realm and the production realm. And production is something that we're very passionate about, and something that we really are excited to help bring to Oklahoma. But we realize we've got a virus that none of us have control over. So we're pushing out solutions as an organization to, essentially like what you were doing, lend a helping hand. What are you doing, and how are you doing it? Maybe we might have some insight on how you can change some things. We're not interested in gouging you. We just are more interested in seeing everybody make it together. And Alex, I love your quote, high tides, all ships rise with a high tide. And I think that's what we're trying to do, is trying to be positive. A lot of people, unfortunately, are pretty depressed. I saw a pretty frightening figure about people who are calling in for mental help. And, there's a bleakness, and I think it's our job in the creative world. And, you look at the greatest movies, is they tell a great story, and people can empathize with that. So as a long-winded way, we're pushing out solutions focused on helping businesses survive. And whether that pays or not, we don't know, but we see a massive need right now. And I don't think the PPP is really going to be the answer to our problems long term.
Yeah. So Alex, I hope with your creative process, because I feel like there's going to be a huge tidal wave of COVID films now. Like we're just going to be inundated. Like we just got out of this. Now we got to watch it all. All the TV shows are going to have a COVID situation. All the sitcoms will have the COVID episode, just like it was the Talk episode. So for your creative process, what all are you doing out there in now sunny California?
Well, it's funny because, I've probably talked to Josh more now than I do even on a regular basis, because, we had, you're referencing talking about trying to bring, filming into Oklahoma, which, the reality is down there that the state incentive program, like we said, is 35%, 37% if you're actually doing your scoring there, and and one of our whole goals was to bring it outside of just Oklahoma City, and what I felt like it was the timing on the whole thing is unfortunate, but at the same time, everybody's in the same boat, because I did feel like we're getting a really good place as far as like productions lined up, potentials that we could bring there. But that's just COVID. It just did everything. So at this point, you know, honestly, from a production standpoint, you know, there's going to be this backlog, this back jam. When we come out of this, whenever we come out of it, you know, films and TV shows that were supposed to have been filmed right now, or ones that had to cancel midway through their production in March. Again, you know, I think there will be a rush as soon as this is over to get out and film, and they're going to be looking for locations to do it, and all those things are true. But as far as like right now goes, I'm taking the opportunity right now. You know, my writing partner out in Los Angeles right now, you know, his day job is running development for a very successful television studio. And so the ability to have our time kind of at home now, where it's, you know, the both of us in our own, you know, locations, it's actually interesting from a standpoint that we're trying to get ahead, you know, doing what we can, not from a production standpoint, gearing up for future. Really what we're focusing on right now is knocking the dust off of the script one more time that we had hoped to be in production on now, and then and also gearing up and having a bunch of arrows in our quiver for when we come out of this and it's back to pitch mode and we can actually go out and try to put together more projects and things like that. So it has been like helpful being able to have that time to go in and really dedicate it to that, because you know, at other, you know, points in the year, you do kind of get focused on other things. So it's been kind of cool to clarify, you know, coming in like that. But at the same time, I'm really ready for it to be over, because I was really looking forward to some of the stuff we were trying to do.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So actually a couple things. So, you know, Josh, you hit the mental health aspect, and, you know, and also like the whole writing aspect, like how are you as writers or, you know, film producers? I mean, how like in the creative mode, how do you kind of keep yourself in that headspace to where, you know, you're not maybe going down a dark rabbit tunnel? You know, are you able to work on new creative, you know, kind of processes and new ideas, or is it a lot of it just kind of, well, just now we got time to rehash this old one or kind of go through what we did before? Adam?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, it's just mostly it's just staying busy. It's just looking at what I wanted to do in the past and just kind of neglected, and then what I want to do now. So it's a little bit of both, I guess. It's just it's you know, like I mentioned before, I feel like I had a decade of delaying a lot of things, whether it be like creatively or personally, just like house projects. Sometimes, you know, a lot of us like to put stuff off, and it's like, well, shit, I'm stuck in my house. Like, if I come out of this and I haven't like painted and cleaned up and like done all these projects that I've wanted to do, then poor use of my time. But you know, I'm really like, especially for like the first 2 weeks, I was really maximizing my time, working harder probably than I should have been. Whether it just be like pounding at scripts and reading and watching films and like cleaning and stuff. And now it's like I've accomplished so much that I've kind of let myself relax a little bit. You know, I made myself take a 2-day break after writing so much last week and doing that 48 project, that I made myself not look at the computer for 2 days, just to kind of keep myself out of that bubble. I do think a lot of people are working harder than they have, just because they want to stay busy. That, you know, your job and your career is a huge part of who you are as a person. And a lot of us have had that taken away. And I think so people are just like holding on as that, like their last thread of normalcy. You know, I don't really have, you know, my business really to hold me on. So I'm like creating stuff for me to do that's, you know, adjacent to what we were already doing. But in the interim, I'm just like, well, let's just like write the shit out of stuff, you know, let's get caught up, and then let's clean my house and like organize my stuff and keep my sanity. You know, I've made it a point to force myself to get back to the gym. Like every day I've gone, worked out or ran or just going for long walks, you know, at least an hour and a half a day. So I'm coming out of this in the best shape of my life, is what I'm saying. At least I'm getting back to that fighting state. But yeah, it is kind of a wild time. I think everyone just needs to, you know, get caught up, like whatever that means, like personally, professionally, you know, whatever you need to do. I think there's a lot of people that are, you know, really afraid and scared and don't know what to do, or maybe they have nobody living with them. They have no one to talk to. So I think it's find something that you've always wanted to do or get better at or complete, or a project you wanted to complete or whatever it is. And probably like try to stay away from, I think, computers as best you can, because I think that's where people just get like reality starts to disappear. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't help, especially if you're feeling like depressed. And you guys are right. The weather's been wonky as hell. Like we had, it was 80 degrees 3 days ago. It was 27 degrees last night. It's 72 right now. It's going to be 20 something tonight. And we've had crazy winds, and it truly does feel like the apocalypse. But a lot of the weather's been sunny for a little bit, and then super gray and depressing for a while. And so it's hard for a lot of people. And I take allergy medicine seasonally, which always has an effect on like my well-being. Like it really does make me feel more depressed every year. Like no matter what I take, it's a steroid, it makes you feel weird. So find something that you want to accomplish, get better at cooking, read some books, like, get way ahead of all this stuff. The other day I said, this is what it would be like if I was rich, right? I don't have anything to really do. I don't have any projects. I could read, I could play all the video games. Yeah. I could do anything. Like, so change the perception of this. Don't look at it as a negative, look at it as a positive. Get out of your house, take a walk. You can still do those types of things. Be conscientious about what's happening around you, and don't grab weird handles and cough on people, and don't be a psychopath about it. But you can still like maintain a level of healthy, healthy mental and physical abilities. So But unfortunately, guys, I do have to run. I have to get ready for another thing at 5 o'clock. So,
Hey, no, you're good. Hey, real quick though, one more question from our friend in Arizona. You ever get discount on theater popcorn?
I mean, I'm swimming in popcorn, but I will say I've never gotten tired of eating our popcorn.
Right.
It's always around me for 9 years. We do have really good popcorn, and I've never gotten tired of it. So I guess the discount for me, technically it's free. I guess we pay for it in the business, but me grabbing a bag doesn't cost me anything. And I don't get tired of it either. So
well, good. Hey, thank you so much, brother. Hey, you be good.
Good to see you guys.
We'll talk soon.
All right. Take care.
All right. So same question to you all, Josh, Alex, not the popcorn question, of course.
I would give you a discount on popcorn. I'll tell you that.
Exactly. Right. Act 2 popcorn. So I mean, what is it like for the creative process for you all? I know you guys with production, you're more in the numbers side of things, but how do you kind of keep the creative juices flowing? And is there any superfoods you're eating? Is there any certain habits or anything that you're doing in this time?
Well, I can tell you right now that I make a linguine bolognese that would set the house on fire.
Here you go.
No, I think it's a great question, because I think, creative people look for solutions that kind of solve your sanity. And one of those fun little stupid things, and I'm a random person, I started, I used to tap as a kid, and I bought a pair of tap shoes, and I may have crushed Fats Waller's Ain't Misbehaving, which is like an hour long, 2 nights ago. But I think from a writing perspective, and this is something that we talked about years ago. I don't know if you ever saw the amazing documentary Comedian with Jerry Seinfeld about kind of the life of a stand-up comedian and what they go through. And I think that something that, because Alex and I started as writers, and he's gone on to do other things, and I've gone on to do other things, and he's still continuing to write and produce and do all of these things together. But I think it's something that it becomes a part of your daily life. And there's a really good book called The Artist's Way. I don't know if you guys have read it, but it's just a general philosophy of, I have to have creative stuff in my life to kind of, keep my sanity. And I've been writing a ton. I've been writing new stuff, been writing old stuff. But also, as far as kind of a company perspective, I think honestly we're all just we're trying to figure out what up is, and I think that the thing that I learned very early on, my dad had a great philosophy about writing. He's like, don't worry about it, just throw it up on a piece of paper and worry about it after that. And then obviously you've got great books like Sid Field's Screenplay. If people are wanting to write their screenplay and they've never wanted to do it, now's the time to do it, because we're going to be home for a while. But I think for me, it's a daily plug of creativity. So I write, I read a crazy amount, and I'm also doing the exercise and doing tap, and I bought a piano, so I'm trying to figure those things out. But more than anything, I think that imagination and writing go hand in hand, and let that thing go crazy. Let it, jump into the project that you never wrote. Push things, do claymation at home. What was the hilarious Parks and Recreation episode where he got laid off and he did claymation and he thought he had created like an hour-long piece of content and it was 2 seconds. So that's my thought. And I think that you talk about mental health and I know Alex got a lot of great thoughts on this. Keeping positive. The more we can keep each other positive, the more that we can keep focused on there is hope at the end of the tunnel. We're going to get through this. We're going to come together. We're going to find creative solutions. And I think that's one of the things that all of us understand and something that I'm excited to look at. But that's what I've been doing.
Awesome. Now you mentioned
Nice.
the artist or the Artist Way.
The Artist Way.
Is that by Julia Cameron?
Oh, geez, it's been so many years since I've read it. There's two. There's basically it's kind of like Sid Field's screenplay. There's the original that lays out the screenplay guidelines, and then you also have the workbook itself.
Is it this one?
Yeah,
right here?
that's it. Yep.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
Very
I bought that actually for a friend a couple of weeks ago, and what that just challenges you to do is every day. Do something creative. Do something that you love. Write poetry. Write a novel. Write a screenplay. Sing. There's any number of things. But I think obviously today's a talk about production, and I think that's what I've been challenging is writing on a daily basis and continuing to work that muscle.
Good, Alex. What about yourself?
Yeah, it's actually not too much different from. Kind of like the regular, writing style. It's just kind of. I think the tone of things has this time around just because some of the subject matter we happen to be working on for this next project that we're putting together is pretty dark. So you can't spend too long into on those subjects. It was funny the other night. I woke up in the middle of the night and I had this wicked dream about this demon like at the side of my bed, and then. I called my writing partner the next day. And the first thing he said was like, "Dude, I had this dream last night. I woke up in the middle of the night. It was a demon beside my bed. It was crazy." I'm like, "Oh man, we're really getting some weird stuff." But outside of that, yeah, it's one of those deals where.
How does it feel to live in Poltergeist?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's one of those things where this does kind of feel like an alternative reality for sure. I mean, every time you stop and really think about it, you're like, this is real life. This is nuts. And you feel like you should be doing something, but at the end of the day, like just staying home is doing what you're supposed to be doing. So then I just try to get back to work. But it's been an interesting thing. We definitely have gone back and, like I said, knocked the dust off of a couple of other things that we've done in the past, but it also is, giving ourselves that time to think of new projects, not necessarily write any actual scripts. Right now it's just more just collecting ideas right now at this point and like developing pitches. What are these be, your 10-page treatments and things like that, just for things that we may want to pitch in the future. So, but it's been nice, especially now that the weather's turned. And I have not been tapping, but I do believe Josh when he says he's really good at it. I just haven't seen it in 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah, twinkle twinkle, baby.
There will be some videos that come out.
Yeah.
Where I embarrass myself, but I'd like to be the modern day Gregory Hines, which will never happen.
Yeah, Gregory Hines, man, that's a good pull there.
You remember White Knights?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was one of the great. You talk about cinema and Mikhail Baryshnikov. So here's a real quick side story. My cousin ended up meeting him in Tulsa, and he had a policy of not signing autographs, but he gave her a kiss on the cheek.
There you go.
Yeah. So random story.
Awesome.
Not proper in COVID times, by the way.
No. Yeah.
It would be Richard Dawson back in the 70s with the Prices, or not Prices Right, Family Feud.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I still they still show replays. And I'm just like, how? How was that acceptable? Oh, that's right. We were smoking on airplanes. We were doing a lot of things as a population because we were just figuring it out.
Yeah, he was a creep.
Yeah. So, okay. So, we talked about, mental health, things that you're doing. I know for myself, I've been doing a lot of nostalgia. Eating food maybe I haven't eaten in a while. Trying to, do different things to kind of open up some of those, endorphins and kind of get a different part of the brain. Not where it's always running through numbers and, worrying about the, current situations. And so I've been diving in a lot of like movies and 90s movies even. And so like, what are some movies or, what are you guys watching besides Tiger King and Ozarks? What are you guys watching nowadays?
Tiger King and Ozarks.
So good. So good.
You know what? I have, it's funny because one of the things I like to do is, of course, watch movies. You never know where ideas are going to come. A lot of, but I have found myself every night now, if you don't watch Bob Ross on Netflix as you fall asleep, you're not doing it right. It's like, this is like a lullaby, Bob Ross. So that's my thing. Tiger King, Ozarks, and Bob Ross at night. It's awesome.
That's a healthy diet. What about you, Josh? What do you got?
Man, I have a vice. I love gangster films, and after I read the book Wise Guy, I can't get enough. So I have watched Narcos Mexico. I've watched Ozark. I have watched every gangster movie that you could imagine, and my favorite of all time is The Office.
The Office, yeah.
And it's so funny. You're like, I kind of like miss being at the office. We closed our office 3 weeks ago, and it's other than the grocery store and most of my stuff's on delivery now. It's been my dog. So there's been a lot of film, but I've actually been going back and watching older movies and I got into a little Hitchcock. I watched Birds. I watched North by Northwest.
Yes,
with Cary Grant. Which you can't say, and they were actually gonna redo it a couple years ago. I'm like, please don't leave this thing alone. It's genius. And so it's been a lot of suspense. Probably not as much comedy. Maybe my spirits are up and I'm not feeling that. But gangster shows and old Hitchcock stuff.
There you go. Now, you're talking about Birds. Alex, sounds like we got somebody else that wants to chime in or chirp in. The back room. You got a little buddy.
You got a little buddy behind you.
I do, and actually, I have a little mourning dove that had a nest, and she's had a few, little chickies, and I don't know what's going on, but the most recent egg that she's been sitting on, she kicked it out of the nest, and it's just sitting beside her. I'm not quite sure what to do, so I guess that's just nature. I'm trying not to interfere. But
that's a gangster nature, apparently. And speaking of gangsters, we got one adding to the stream. My buddy, my friend, for about 20 years, Mr. Matty. What's going on, Casey Movie Guy?
What's going on, everyone?
Hey, brother, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good.
Yeah. So now we're in hour 2 of Tvshka Talks, and so we were going to talk about 2000 movies. Not 2000 total movies, which is what Matt has behind him, but the 2000s. And so me and Matt actually worked up a little bit of our lists. But before we kind of get to that, Alex, Josh, what are some of your favorite 2000s movies?
Oh, good question. Not
all at one
time. Wow, that's.
Well, I'm gonna say the best movie that I've seen, Come Hell or Come High Water, with Jeff Bridges, and I forget Chris Pine.
Right.
And I watched Alpha Dog. You remember Alpha Dog?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Such a good movie and a true story. I watched it yesterday. But the guy that is, basically the bad guy of the movie, is also in Come Hell or High Water. Yeah. It's the most beautifully shot movie I've seen in probably 10 or 15 years. Yeah. Obviously you can put The Revenant in there, but yeah, that would be certainly on my tops.
Now, Josh, I would have to penalize you if this was a game show, because those are in the 2010s. Hell or High Water, I think it's like 2014.
Yeah, it is. All right,
yeah.
so we got to go. All right, so you know what
He's
on
all right,
that, and
Alpha
I'm gonna pass to Alex, and I'm gonna come back.
Yeah, Alex, what about you, brother?
I would say one of my favorite movies from that decade definitely is The Prestige.
Yeah.
That movie, I remember watching that, and I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
A, because I'm a huge fan of Tesla, too. I always have been ever since. Actually, my current writing partner gave me a book to read about Tesla before.
Great metal band. I love Tesla, too.
Yeah.
Hey, that signs. It was a great.
But yeah, Prestige.
Yeah, Prestige. Lost in Translation. I still love. I don't know if it's 2000s or 2010s. I think it is though. But I'm a sucker for Midnight in Paris. I don't know what year that exactly was made, but I think it's in that
little Woody
time
Allen.
period.
I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, Midnight in Paris is a definite go-to. Comedy wise, there was a lot of good stuff in there. 40-Year-Old Virgins sticks out, you know, if you're just having some fun. Gosh, I mean, there were some really good ones, you know. So,
V for Vendetta.
Yeah, there you go.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Road to Perdition.
Yep.
Yeah, that's so funny. I'm sorry. I totally I would have been the disappointing family member on the game show. Dude, you work in this.
What about
you're Family Feud. You're like the last one. Everybody's like, "What are you doing?" That was the last dance.
What is the line from Billy Madison?
Plaid.
That neither has anything to do with what we were talking about, and we have all become dumber for your comment.
Yeah, just
May God have mercy on your soul.
Boy, am I glad I called that guy. Awesome. Well, hey, Alex, Josh, you guys got some time to stick around?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Hey.
Yeah, I've got a few minutes.
There we go. All right, Matt. Let's go ahead and get to our list then. I'm going to drop them out real quick. There we go. All right. So how you doing, buddy? What you got going on, man?
Just hanging out and enjoying the day. It's a nice day.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. We just got some rain today, but we've had like 3 or 4 days of just like 60, 70-degree weather. It's been amazing. And it's even been more amazing working inside while it's nice outside. It's like, man.
Yeah, I'm miserable. I understand. I get it.
All right, let me pull this up real quick. There we go. There's our list. And nice blinding white. Yeah, that's good. Oh, man. I need to try to find a way to turn this down. Anyways, all right. So me and Matt, we've put together our list. It's not really necessarily top 10. I think Matt did rank his. These are just movies that we really loved. Man, they said some good ones. V for Vendetta, Road to Perdition, Alpha Dog, The Prestige.
The Prestige.
Right. Now, what was the other magician movie that came
Illusionist.
out? All right. Did that come out the same week?
It did. They rivaled each other in the box office.
It was like what? But both are amazing. I love both of them.
They're both good.
Yeah, Prestige though. I don't know if that was it Nolan? I think it was. I think it was a Nolan film.
It was Christopher Nolan.
Yeah. So I don't know who did The Illusionist, but yeah, there's probably a good documentary somewhere about those two movies and how they rivaled each other. And
I'd be open to watching it.
Yeah. But yeah, so 2000 movies, man. Every time I say that, it sounds bad. Like I'm saying like a count of movies. Movies in the year 2000, right? Yeah, man. So as you're working on your list, what were you trying to hit off? Were you trying to hit, okay, go through each year? This is my favorite of this year. Were you going through, okay, the ones that, like that you just can't stop watching once it's up? And for the few people that are watching, go ahead and let us know what some of your favorites are. But Matt, yeah, what was your process for kind of writing out the list?
Well, like you said, I was going through year by year trying to pick out my best of those years, and I came to a problem. It's like I can't just pick two, so I just had to go with the ones that when I watched them, they had me on the edge of my seat, trying to figure out what was going on, and that's how I was able to pick out which ones that were most important to me for the years.
Right. Yeah. I was going through and just like off the top of my head, okay, which ones that I was a proponent for. Like basically, like I campaigned for the movie, told people how great it was, and kind of went off of that. But then as I was doing like research and going through the whole movie list, and I didn't even get through all of them. I just maybe got through like 30, 50 of them, and I was just like, oh my god, how do you pick? How do you narrow it down?
Yeah, exactly.
And so I was looking at it. I'm like, okay, I wanted to get a little bit of a range in years, a little bit of a range in genre, and also like try to find something unique about maybe each one that really I personally latched onto. And because after I was going through it, I'm like, this is all crime drama. it's all like you said, gangster movies, man. It's all like crime action, and I'm like, all right, I can't just give a whole list of that. Then it looks like that's the only movie I watch.
Mine was gonna be almost all comedies. I was like,
right, yeah, yeah, and that's where I first went to, because I was like, okay, 2000s, thinking high school, because that's where we met, not in high school, but while we were going to high schools at the same time. And so I was thinking about like Anchorman, Superbad, a lot of these that you quoted all the time and you knew of and such. But I think what we'll do is we'll probably just go through, because we collected all of the both of our lists, and we actually put them in not alphabetical, in chronological order. So we're just going to start from 2000. My movie, first one to kick it off. We talked about Christopher Nolan earlier. This guy did Memento. And now, Matt, I believe you have not seen this movie, correct?
I have not seen it, no.
And if I will get with Adam Roberts, the owner of Screenland Armor Theaters, and we will try to find a way to do a watch party, because I'm telling you, this thing is a roller coaster of a movie. The main character, who is played by Guy Ritchie, just making sure I didn't mute myself. Played by Guy Ritchie, goes through quite the ordeal, because he has amnesia and memory loss. And so as he's going along, he's tattooing himself of notes and ways that he can try to remember, how to continue on basically this, this mission he's kind of on. And I can't really give too much away. Even talking about how they edited the film, as far as like the chronological structure, would even give a lot of it away. But it's such a good movie, and it's so good and so true to mental health, but more so with amnesia, that they actually have some of the clinical students and everything watch it, so they have a better understanding of basically what the patient is going through at that time. And so now we're gonna go to 2001. Then this is a comedy. Which one do you think this one is?
2001.
Yeah, I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but we'll see if you can pull this.
It's not coming to me.
Okay, I didn't know if you were looking at the list or not. Saving Silverman.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Coming in.
Yeah. Saving Silverman is probably one of the best movies of the early 2000s.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. So Matt's a father of 3 kids, and
just trying to come down the stairs.
Yeah, and they're all wanting to get on the camera properly.
Saving Silverman.
Yeah.
If you've never seen it, I highly recommend it for any comedy fan, any Jack Black or Steve Zahn fan.
Yeah, definitely. Like that, I think I first saw Steve Zahn in That Thing You Do. As part of the O-Neaters, and dude, I don't know, like just his delivery and his energy, man. Like I was hooked right away. And so, and with this one, I think this was after American Pie, and gosh, I can't remember.
Jason Biggs.
Yeah. I want to say Bateman, but I was like, no, that's definitely not. But but Jason Biggs, kind of lead character, and I was never really a fan of him, but I was a fan of Jack Black from Tenacious D and everything else. And it was a 90s movie. The first time I saw Jack Black was in, oh my gosh,
Airborne.
Airborne. Thank you. I was about to say Airheads. Yes, Airborne.
Probably one of my favorite underrated 90s movie of all time.
Gosh, so good. That's what got me into inline skating, and that's what got me beat up by kids at the playground.
Seth Green and Jack Black were both in that.
Yeah, I think both of their premiere movies. But yeah, those two. I'm telling you, they need to do some kind of reunion movie because those guys had such a great chemistry.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, so much energy. Like I think they probably would have to do drug tests for these guys because they had so much energy going on at the time. Like,
I think one of the best scenes in that movie is when they're trying to kidnap Amanda Peet.
Yeah,
and she's trying to convince them to get her a big Montana from Arby's, and she keeps dripping the sauce on herself. And
easy. This is a family-friendly show, all right?
Steve Zahn's trying to contain himself.
Yeah,
you gotta watch it.
It's so good. Yeah. Just stop it. Yeah, and then he goes in as the mascot.
Yeah.
Oh man, so zany. But and yeah, so those are two of my picks. Just the way it works out, mine lined up more with the earlier the decade, and I know yours is coming up in the second half. So my number 3 for 2003, Bad Boys 2. Bad Boys 2. I mean, it had the Puff Daddy soundtrack. It had Gabrielle Union, now Gabrielle Wade.
Yeah.
But man, I mean, it was just another dynamic duo, another like great chemistry that luckily we got recently again with the new Bad Boys. But yeah, just impeccable. And then you got Michael Bay, who is a technical genius, but he's not a story or script genius, unfortunately. So it's like whereas a lot of his movies kind of lack, but that's where like Martin Lawrence and Will Smith with their characters, they were able to carry that weight while he basically just threw every explosion and helicopter into the shot. And it was amazing.
I'm sure you could put anybody in that movie around those two.
Yeah.
And have it be the same as it is.
Oh my gosh. Right.
Yeah.
Man. Now you got my wheels spinning like, man, who would you dream cast? God, man, like maybe J.K. Simmons.
That'd be a good one.
As maybe like a lieutenant or not lieutenant, like a chief man or something.
He'd be more on the pain in the butt guy, like a pain in the rear end to them most of the time. Yeah. That's what he usually plays in movies.
Or he could be the mayor, and you don't know if he's crooked or not.
It's a good one.
So the whole time they kind of tease it where, hey, maybe he's the.
That kind of reminds me of 21 Bridges that he's in.
Man, you know what? I haven't seen that yet. I haven't seen it yet.
Right. Okay. I think a lot of people don't like it, but
yeah,
I'm a person that likes to see stuff before I give my opinion on something.
Exactly, man. That's why you got to do it.
I thought his character was pretty good.
Yeah. So that's Bad Boys. So you have Memento with kind of like a psychological kind of thriller. Saving Silverman, goofball classic. Bad Boys 2, action comedy, buddy cop. This one in 2004, this is the more like kind of drama and the sensitive. I was going to say cinematic. It's of course it's cinematic, but this is the more serious kind of tone, and it has to deal with mental health, but as well as mostly Adam Robert was talking about it earlier, the effects of medication.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is Garden State. It's with Zach Braff and Natalie Portman in there. And it is an absolute classic movie. I think it was like Zach Braff wrote and directed. I think that was his first debut of both. And, for sure directing. And it's just incredible. I mean, I love it because it's like an indie kind of movie as far as like in tone. So kind of like Juno, things of that nature. Kind of like the pacing of it. But yeah, again, chemistry. I mean, Natalie Portman and Zach Braff had a lot of great chemistry, and so that yeah, I've always enjoyed that one. Have you seen that one?
No, I have not.
Yeah, that's another one. That's a good date night movie. Good date night because there's a romance in there. Now back to action though.
I like that quick.
2004, same year. Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx.
Collateral,
man. My gosh, this. If my house is on fire, this is one of the 10 movies that I'm grabbing. Period. Regardless if it's only 2000s. Yeah.
I don't blame you. Like the whole, like Tom Cruise's character is kind of off-putting in that movie.
Yeah.
Like that's what makes it enjoyable because he plays like these so likable characters, like Mission Impossible, Save the World type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like then you got Jamie Foxx, who's just wants to drive his cab, wants to be left alone, let him do his job.
Yeah.
And you got Tom Cruise. It's so good.
Like, well, yeah, I mean, like you're kind of hinting to is, both of them are playing uncharacteristic of themselves.
Well, definitely.
And and what they typically are. I mean, Jamie Foxx coming from, I don't know if it was Living Color, but he had his own show.
Jamie Foxx show.
Yeah, he had his own show, and he was doing music. But he was in oh my gosh. Not Players Club. Oh my gosh.
He was in Players Club.
Was he in Players Club? Okay.
Yep.
But he kind of played in those roles. Man, I can't remember the other one, but yeah. So this one, I mean, he's weathered. He's an old guy basically in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not sure how much makeup they had to do on him and such, but I mean, I think the character was maybe in his 50s. Just trying to drive a cab, just trying to save some money and trying to get to this island. He has these dreams of getting out. And runs into Tom Cruise, who is typically the face. In this one, he's the villain. I mean, assassin named Vincent, one of the scariest dudes. I would never want to, meet or shake hands, especially now in COVID-19 season. But yeah, I love that movie. Can't praise it enough.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, brother. Now we're to one of yours, man. 2005.
Oh, no.
2005. What do you think you got?
Let me get to my notes. Let's see.
Yeah, as you're pulling those up, though, your 2005 movie, Cinderella Man.
Oh, man, dude. Probably one of the best boxing movies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I was in college when this came out, and the whole pop, pop, shoot, bang with him with his daughter when he's teaching how to box, that made me want a daughter.
Right? I want that relationship. I want to teach you how to box.
Yeah, definitely. Like, the whole story around James J. Braddock is awesome. How he's like a big time boxer, then gets brought down. And he has to go ask for a job every day because during that time they didn't have it was horrible times.
Yeah,
he'd go down and work on the docks and stuff. It's like the whole cast is great. Renee Zellweger playing his wife, and his coach at the time. I can't think of his name right now. His boxing coach sold everything so he could keep training him and keep his glory days as a boxer going on. And the guy he fought for the title, Bear Brown, was threatening to kill him and all this in front of his family and his kids and his wife.
Yeah, Max Bear.
Yeah.
Max Bear. Yeah.
Max Bear.
Yeah. So looks like Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, that's it.
Is he the coach?
Yeah, he's phenomenal.
Oh man, dude. Yeah. Yeah, Paul Giamatti is amazing. There was a movie, I think like 2006, excuse me, that I almost put on my list. And it's Paul Giamatti and oh man, I always forget the guy's name.
Sideways?
Huh? Yeah, Sideways.
Sideways.
Yeah, I can't remember the other actors though. Christensen or
no, it's the guy from Wings. And he plays
he's from Wings.
He plays Sandman. And
there's a Christian in his name somewhere.
I can see his face.
Thomas Hayden Christian or something.
Yeah, Thomas Hayden Church.
Is it Thomas Hayden Church? Okay, still a Christian. So somewhat related, but Sideways, man, that was a great movie. Another great movie is 2005's Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. This is directed by Shane Black, starred Robert De Niro, but it also had Michelle Monaghan, I believe, if I pronounced her name right, but Val Kilmer. And man, I feel like, and of course now we don't get him in movies because he has the disabling kind of throat disease, whatever, for Val Kilmer. But I in this movie, like, you just want to see every movie from him from then on. I mean, like, Val Kilmer, each time he's in this scene, steals it from Robert Downey Jr. And Robert Downey Jr. is already a scene stealer. But this came off the time 2005, so it was after the rehab, and he's trying to or Robert Downey Jr. is trying to rebuild his career, and I really think this led to Iron Man, which Shane Black actually directed Iron Man 3, so there probably was a pretty good connection there. But man, I'll tell you, I mean, I know we talked earlier, and so you've seen Wise Guys, which is another Shane Black movie.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, am I saying that right? Oh man, what was the movie with? Sorry, this is a great movie talk. The buddy cop movie, Russell Crowe, Ryan Gosling. Nice Guys. Okay, thank you. I was like, yeah, Wise Guys doesn't sound right. The other guys, no, that's a different.
That movie's so funny because Ryan Gosling is seriously afraid of Russell Crowe through that whole movie. Like he's
like flinching. Yeah.
Like the scene where he's in the bathroom and he's like, "Why are you in here?" He's pointing the gun at him.
Yeah.
He's like, "Why are you in here?" I just want to ask you some questions.
Yeah.
Well, why now? Why I'm in the bathroom?
Yeah. You got to do it now, guys. Come on. But Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is the one that basically like laid the groundwork for the Nice Guys, and in tone, pacing, just the witty dialogue, and man, I mean, Robert Downey Jr. just knocks it out of the park. I don't think this one won any awards because it really wasn't on anybody's radar, but it is one of the. It's a kind of a caper movie, kind of like a noir kind of crime noir, but dude, it is a straight up comedy. I mean, it just serious subject matter, but I mean, just he's hilarious the whole time, and definitely quotable and cracked me up the whole time. But now we're on to 2006.
Ooh, Grandma's Boy.
Yeah, speaking of cracking up.
Yeah, this movie's fantastic. It's a Sandler movie, Sandler made movie.
Yeah,
but that doesn't have Adam Sandler in it.
Yeah,
has all his whole crew in it, but not him. And the movie's phenomenal. It's like Jonah Hill's first movie. Mm-hmm. Nick Swartzen wrote it, and it's about these guys who work at a video game company, and they're building this game for this guy who thinks he's in the Matrix.
And that was our introduction to that guy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, now I can't remember his name.
He's in Dodgeball.
Yeah.
He's in some low budget stuff, but
Alan Covert. No, Alan Covert's the main lead, but it had Linda Cardellini, who I fell in love with. Yeah, in Freaks and Geeks. Then of course Peter Dante, Joel David Moore. Yeah, Joel David Moore. I mean, even like seeing his face and hearing the name doesn't sound like it fits, but yeah, he played JP. I am a robot.
Yeah, he's the most very unlikable dude in any comedy movie.
Oh my gosh,
known the man.
Oh yeah, I mean, you love to hate him.
You definitely do. And the whole party scene's pretty great too, at the grandma's house.
Oh my gosh, yeah. There's so many great and quotable scenes from that movie. Yeah. I definitely need to pull that one out and rewatch it.
Definitely needs a Blu-ray upgrade though. In my
opinion. Yeah. We're talking about Blu-ray upgrade last week, and there's so many movies that are deserving of it, but just haven't gotten it yet.
Well, there's so many movies that are coming out at the end of April that are getting Blu-ray upgrades.
Yeah. I'll definitely keep my eyes on that one. I've been going through YouTube and buying some movies.
Nice.
So yeah, just kind of getting a little bit of a digital library. But excuse me. All right, 2006. This is one of mine. So growing up, we all played GoldenEye, and Bond is was the best, and Bond also got really weird. In the late 90s, early 2000s. The World Is Not Enough, and Tomorrow's or Another Day or whatever. I mean, even the titles got weird, but this is the redemption of Bond with Casino Royale.
Yeah,
and so Daniel Craig, who was in Layer Cake, So that was really kind of one of his first, but he really like blew up the scene with Casino Royale, because not a whole lot of people knew who he was or really knew much about him. And man, I tell you, just even that opening scene, we were talking about earlier, with that long shot, and it's just painting them, going through that big chase scene. Oh man, yeah, I was hooked, and it was like watching it. It was like, this is the Bond I never knew I needed. Because you always thought like, oh, cool car, gadgets, all right, lens flare. Okay, cool. We're good.
Yeah.
And this one, it was gritty. It was real. And it was, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it escalated Bond while at the same time grounding him. But so, all right. And then 2006, we shared this one, The Departed.
Probably one of the best cop undercover movies of all time.
Gosh, right? Everybody's a rat in this one. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but it's been 14 years. Better get on that.
And the whole hate between Wahlberg and Damon is great.
Yeah,
through the whole movie. Like it starts off from the movie starts, they hate each other.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. As soon as he comes into the office, he's like, "What? Are you a rat, man?" Like just in his face, cussing at him. Yeah.
Like, nice to meet you too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't like your haircut. Now I'm thinking of the other guys. Whenever you pee, the sound hitting the urinal sounds feminine. So he gets to kind of cut up like that, and yeah, it's hysterical. But yeah, I mean, man, like twist after twist after twist, especially in the final, 5 minutes. And yeah, everybody's a rat, but man, that is definitely that's probably my favorite Scorsese film.
That's your favorite?
I would say so. Right after that, yeah, now I'm blanking. I mean, Casino's really good. I
should go back and revisit Casino. I saw it like years and years ago.
Yeah, I'm blanking right now. This is good show notes right here. But yeah, and like his older stuff, I haven't really seen Taxi Driver. I actually haven't seen Wolf of Wall Street, but Goodfellas.
Wolf of Wall Street is probably one of my favorite Leonardo DiCaprio movies.
Yeah,
and it introduces Margot Robbie to movies too.
Yeah,
and look what she's on to now.
Yeah. Scorsese did a great job of launching so many people's career. If it was in Catch Me If You Can, you had like Elizabeth Banks, you had like 5 or 6 kind of basically just not cameos but just quick scenes, and that was like their first film. And apparently, but I mean, it's Scorsese. You get after that, you can say, well, I was in a Scorsese film. Oh yeah, of course. Here you go. Here's money. Act your butt off. But yeah, Departed though. Yeah, love that movie. Here is one of my personal favorites. Talking about long shots with Casino Royale. This one has like a 7-minute scene, and it's all one shot, and it follows Clive Owen and a pregnant lady running through a war-torn area, and in the middle of the battle too, where they have one faction that's trying to kill them, and then they also have the army that's battling that other faction. And it's children of men. And I mean, I tell you, like, so it's post-apocalyptic, where basically just through sanitization, not viruses but vaccines and everything, basically like the human race hasn't had a new pregnancy in a while because everybody becomes sterile. And then this one lady is pregnant, and and is about to give birth to a kid, and so I mean it's it's just a really, really odd setting, kind of this dystopia. But man, I tell you, I mean, it's just shot well. Clive Owen does a great job in it. And oh man, now saying Clive Owen, I'm thinking of his other action movie with the carrot. Shoot, it's called Shoot Something. Man,
Shoot 'em Up.
Shoot 'em Up. Thank you. Yeah. God, man, Shoot 'em Up. That was great. But yeah, no, Children of Men, absolute like classic, probably deserving of one of the top movies that are not known about.
Mm-hmm.
But and then we go to 2007, which for me, I really feel like this was one of the best years for film. A lot of good ones coming out of there, but one of them that I absolutely love, and anytime I need to laugh, I can just watch a scene of this one and start cracking up. It's Hot Rod.
It's not a bad choice, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, with Andy Samberg, and I was like, his kind of film debut, especially as lead. But you also have Danny McBride in there. You got a whole other great cast of characters.
Bill Hader.
Yeah, Bill Hader. Oh my gosh, the scene where he's, yeah, man, I was just grinding, and then they take him to the hospital. Oh yeah, he's like, I just dropped some acid. He's like going to the hospital, and he's like, hospital, trash can. Hospital. Oh man. Yeah, it just gets me in a good mood every time. I mean, the physical humor is absolutely ridiculous.
Well, you got some great comedians in that movie. McBride, Sandberg, especially Hader. Hader's a genius.
Yeah. Hader's so underappreciated. Maybe not in the actual film industry. They probably know him, because he's in writers' rooms and he's doing a lot of voiceover work and such. But I think just a general populace, he has probably helped elevate comedy to such a great degree that not a whole lot of people know about. Then 2007, we got another one. It's one of yours.
Zodiac, man.
Yeah.
Such a it's still undetermined today what happened with that whole story.
Right.
Talk about a cast that was in this movie. You got Mark Ruffalo, Robert Downey Jr.
Mm-hmm.
It's packed with people. And the scene where it got me was when they find the guy who they think is the Zodiac killer, and they have him dead to rights in this park, and they have no justifiable reason to arrest him.
Yeah.
But it's him. It all ties, everything that's around him says it's him.
Right. Yeah. And everything points to him. Yeah.
He just gets to walk away. It's
yeah.
Wash my hands and it's over.
Yeah. It's scot-free.
Just crazy. And the whole looking through his house and stuff like that. The scenes with Downey Jr. and it's the knots turning in your stomach, the intense moments of that movie were just so good for a film fan. Yeah,
and it was a David Fincher film. Had Jake Gyllenhaal, and like I said, RDJ, and so this is before he did Iron Man, so it's still in that renaissance of Robert Downey Jr.
Well, you said Gyllenhaal's in there too, and he's phenomenal.
Yeah, Gyllenhaal, man, good lord, that dude, maybe from Donnie Darko, on. Just knocks it out of the park.
Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler's the best.
Prisoners.
Is that in 2000? I feel like Nightcrawler's 2012.
Yeah, it is. So Prisoners is later too.
Oh my gosh,
that's good.
Prisoners, yeah.
I could go all day talking about that.
I know, right? Yeah, we could. Yeah, 2014. Okay, we're good on that one then. Yeah, and apologies to Josh and Alex. I know they had to drop out. So we do want to thank you guys for jumping on here. I thought we were going to kind of do a quick intro and then come back to it. And I think they had to get going. But to kind of finish up, kind of keep moving through this list. So I had Sunshine, 2007 again. And so Sunshine is one of my favorite science fiction movies of all time. I put it up there with Interstellar, put it up there with Space Odyssey.
Wow, with Interstellar? You putting it up there with that?
Yes. Oh man, yeah. Because it's even Moon, and that came out in the 2000s. But because so the whole plot, as we talked about before, though, but for those who haven't seen it, no spoilers. But Earth is dying, and basically the reason why it's dying is because we have ravished a lot of the resources, but also the sun is dying, and so it's actually losing a lot of it, the solar power. And so there's a cooling that's kind of going on within the universe. And so and or their solar system, and so that's where this is like the last ditch effort, and I guess they sent multiple ships or something, and it failed, and and this was the last one they could send, but they're trying to nuke the sun to regenerate it and to at least kind of maybe bring it back to life a little bit, and but they run into a lot of weird stuff as they get closer to the sun. And it has such a great cast. Cillian Murphy is in Peaky Blinders now. He played as I think we're going to talk about the movie later on, but he played Scarecrow. But man, I don't know. Yeah, I know we got to get through some of these other ones, but I love that movie. It's got Captain America. It's got Chris Evans in it. Rose Byrne, Cliff Curtis. Yeah, Cliff Curtis from Walking Dead. I think he's in actually. But anyways, yeah, such a great one. I mean, I definitely recommend that. And speaking of Cillian Murphy playing, Scarecrow. Yeah, I'm telling you, my brain's done. I think at an hour 40 minutes, maybe a little bit too long. We may need to keep these to an hour. Yeah. Speaking of that, The Dark Knight,
classic.
Yeah. Now, of course, he wasn't really in it that much, if any at all, because he came back in Dark Knight Rises and he was in Batman Begins. But
he's in the beginning of The Dark. No.
That is right. Yeah. He was a part of one of the deals at the beginning. Yep. No, you're right. Yeah, Dark Knight. Now, this was your number one movie, right?
It was.
Yeah. And I know for me, this was the first movie that came to my mind.
I've never been so excited for a movie. I went and saw this movie at like 3 a.m. the weekend it came out.
Yeah.
It was insane how good this was. Heath Ledger, it was a lifetime. It was a role of a lifetime. I don't think anybody else could play the Joker in another Batman film. I know Jared Leto played it in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
But
we did have a fairly recent one with Joaquin Phoenix that was successful.
Yeah. But that was just based on like a Joker film. I'd like to see him go up against the Batman in a movie.
Right. Yeah. See how that one kind of compares.
Yeah.
Man, Heath Ledger. I mean, since Knight's Tale, 10 Things I Hate About You. Always been a fan of him.
Yeah.
And God, man, I mean, it absolute travesty and tragedy. What happened there, but at least he did give us some final films. And with films, I mean, he gets to live on forever in that posthumously. And got the Academy Award, I think, for Best Supporting Actor in that.
Yeah.
And very well deserved. But yeah, because at that time we weren't sure. Like, okay, well, we had Cesar Romero's Joker from the show back in the day, and then you had Jack Nicholson,
who was mad about that he didn't get asked to reprise
his role. Yeah. And he warned Heath too. He warned him about the character and going too method with it. I don't think that's really what got him at the end. A lot of people try to lead it to that, but yeah. And at that time people were just like, you can't do another Joker. I mean, how are you going to do that? And he killed it. And and even then we didn't think anybody else could do another Joker. And Jared Leto proved that right, at least in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, and I mean we could go on about the character Joker, period, because he's one of the more captivating villains. I mean, and just such a wide range of what you can do with the Joker. Of course, the best voiced Joker is Mark Hamill with the Batman animated series.
I've never seen an episode of that.
Oh, you haven't seen any of the Batman animated series?
No, I need to.
Oh man, that's what I grew up on. I grew up on that, man.
I was watching Bobby's World and
Oh yeah, I did the same thing. Bobby's World, and then you had X-Men, you had the G.I. Joe cartoons, you had Batman animated series, you had Superman, you had all of them on Saturdays. But yeah, so Dark Knight. Any other notes on that one? I think that was one of the big ones that really launched Christian Bale into the the public persona. I mean, well, he did the Batman Begins, but and of course before that, one that almost made my list, but I think it's actually late '90s. I think
American Psycho.
Yeah, American Psycho. Yeah,
I watched that movie one time and I had to turn it off. I need to rewatch it.
yeah, yeah. It's so good. Creepy though. Actually, and I think it was '99. My favorite movie, probably still from him, besides Dark Knight, is Equilibrium.
I need to watch it. It's on my watch list.
Yeah. It came out around the same time as Matrix. So it looked like, then the way they marketed it, it made it look like it was a Matrix ripoff, and it definitely wasn't. It was really good.
A lot of people forget he was in the Newsies.
Right? Yeah. As a kid, he was in a lot of stuff too. Yeah. Newsies and some other stuff. But yeah, so to kind of finish out this list, we got a few more, and they're all yours, actually.
Sweet.
Yeah, so I don't know if you want to kind of take it from here. We got a 2008 Dark Knight, and then we got 2 more in 2008 from you.
I have Cloverfield and Step Brothers. Cloverfield's on my list because at that time of the year, there was no movie like Cloverfield, except for Blair Witch, but was years prior. And Cloverfield's basically about like this monster comes to New York and starts destroying the city, and it's all filmed on like a handheld camera. And like this monster has things that drops off of it, like spiders. It goes around and starts biting everyone. And halfway through the movie, this one girl gets bit, and like this craziness ensues. It has a great soundtrack too, and it has T.J. Miller in it. If you guys don't know who T.J. Miller is, he was in Office Christmas Party. He was in one of the newer Transformers movies. He's a really funny comedian.
Don't forget about Deadpool.
Yeah, he's in Deadpool.
A lot of people may remember him from.
And you got Step Brothers. Like our generation is probably one of the best comedies of all time. You got Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly.
Gosh, yeah.
Like, I don't know if there's any better chemistry between two comedians. Like, I don't think you can compare anybody.
Yeah, maybe Jack Black and Steve Zahn, but we'll get to that later.
They've only done one movie together though, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I think they could though.
Yeah, I mean, and with that, I mean, with Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly, I mean, how many movies have they done together now? 5?
Yeah, but Holmes and Watson was crap.
Still a movie they did together, but
but I wouldn't kind of as watchable.
Yeah. Holmes and Watson, Talladega Nights, Step Brothers. I'm trying to think what else they were together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, both of them though. I mean, and John C. Reilly surprisingly is a comedic genius.
Yeah, the Dewey Cox story.
Yeah. But starting off, he was always in dramas.
Yeah, he was in Perfect Storm.
Yeah, and really Talladega Nights probably stemmed from him being in it. But is Days of Thunder, Tom Cruise.
Really?
Yeah, he was the competitor driver. So so it was crazy that he was in Talladega Nights as the other, another driver, and it's awesome. That's a really good watch. I may revisit that. Yeah, we may do like an 80s deal, revisit that one. All right, so that wraps up 2008. Then we go to 2009. What you got?
Zombieland. Who all needs a good Twinkie, right?
Right.
I think the cast in that movie's just great. Like you just have great like age separation. Like you got Abigail Breslin, Emma Stone, Eisenberg, and topped off, you got one of the best actors of all time, and Woody Harrelson. Like they say, Woody Harrelson's like the rock star of actors. Like what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
Like in the whole story, like the traveling, like when they meet Bill Murray, like how awesome would that be if you're in an apocalyptic movie,
right?
And like you see Bill Murray golfing, he's like, "Oh, I can get a tea time anytime I want." Like this, like the whole like probably one of my favorite zombie movies up there with Dawn of the Dead, the remake. I don't know how you feel about that, but
yeah. Oh yeah, no, I absolutely love Zombieland. Yeah, I mean, just yeah, it was a refreshing change from zombies because I think at that time it was kind of getting to the height of the zombie craze. You know, you had Walking Dead, which I think started in 2007, 2008 on television, so that was getting big. You had, you know, 28 Days Later. You had, you know, Resident Evil. You had like a bunch of these horror, you know, films kind of coming up. And then the zombies were going from horror to action. And then it was just a great progression into comedy. And yeah, and it was just like, yeah, the best of all the worlds. When you had action, you had the comedy, you still had that horror element with them. And yeah, and the great cast. Yeah, Emma Stone. I think the first time I saw her was in Superbad. And I don't know if she did anything else after that between these two. But yeah, I mean, after that, it just solidified that she was going to be here for a little while, or not for a little while.
She's been in some good stuff. She's been in La La Land.
Yeah,
she was in Gangster Squad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those are
Gangster Squad. Yeah,
those are some great movies.
Yeah. Now she's A-list. I mean, yeah, she's headlining it. Yeah, especially La La Land. I think they got some Academy Awards for that. Yeah, and then you got 2 remaining in the 2010s. Well, in the 2000s. We counted 2010 just because it was, you know, kind of the final year of that decade. But some could argue it's the first of the next. But
sorry. Yeah, one's a movie called Frozen. It's not the animated one. It's a low budget horror movie.
Oh man, I was about to start breaking out in song, man.
Let it go.
Yeah.
It takes these 3 college kids like on a weekend ski adventure, and they're gonna go for a last run and get stuck on the ski lift.
Yeah.
And the place closes down. Like they're left up there through the night, and it's like below freezing, and they have no way to get down. So they basically get stuck on the frozen lift, and the only way down is to jump off. And I'm not gonna spoil it for anyone, but
yeah, right.
Stuff like crazy stuff starts happening, like things start showing up and
zombies.
No,
there's zombies in it. No zombies.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. As you were talking about it, you know, in our pre-show meeting, yeah, I definitely want to check it out. Yeah, looked really good. You said it was IFC movie.
Yep.
You know, so you know, I know with IFC, you know, it's independent, but I don't know. I just hold them with high regard. I mean, they put out a lot of really quality stuff. And
there's another movie they put out called ATM. It's a horror movie based around an ATM machine. Like these people go into an ATM machine and they get locked in, and this guy starts haunting them from outside the ATM machine.
Jeez. Okay. So at first I thought it was gonna be something like Phone Booth.
It's kind of
Colin Farrell.
it's kind of like that.
Yeah. Okay. A little bit of that thriller aspect. Yeah. Phone Booth. Yeah. I mean, like, how would you remake that? Cell phone? I mean, just walk anywhere else.
Kiefer Sutherland on the other line of the phone is creepy.
Yeah. I forgot he played the antagonist in that one. Yeah. All right, then wrap us up. Wrap us up with this one.
The last one I have is probably my favorite Scorsese film.
Yeah.
And that's Shutter Island. Another Leo DiCaprio movie. Like, the movie's long, but it's worth it in the end. Like, the twist at the end, I haven't seen it in a movie since then.
Yeah.
Like, all the stuff that they go through in this movie, thinking that they're there for basically what it is, they show up to this like prison investigating something, investigating like a murder, and like the twist happens and it's completely not what they're thinking it is. They're not there for an investigation.
Yeah,
like it's shot on one place. If you haven't seen it and you're a Scorsese fan, I recommend it to go top of your list.
Yeah, definitely one of those ones. It has so much rewatchability.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, not trying to spoil it, but yeah, it's just such a huge twist of it that you watch it again and you're looking for the details.
Yeah, you're trying to pick up stuff you lost didn't see the first time.
Yeah,
and that's why
all the hints that showed at it. Yeah, it's so good. Yeah,
that's why there's certain movies you like about those that have twists like that, like in like Seven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You go back and try to find the twist, like the guy in that movie, the villain in that movie is this creepy.
Yeah.
Like the ending in that movie is like what the hell? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, and they do such a like phenomenal job, and of course it's Scorsese, but Seven, Sixth Sense, they leave breadcrumbs the whole way, and you just don't really notice it because you're busy looking at everything else, the trees, the birds, hearing all the noise, and
you're so dived into the story.
Yeah,
you're not picking up on what they're throwing at you.
Yeah,
to tell you the answer.
Yeah, and I love those because let's say rewatchability because then you go back and you're investigating it and almost taking notes. Okay, at this point, this is gonna happen, and I love those because there's some movies that are experiential where it's great, huge twist, such a great kind of a cinematic event, but once you get the twist, it's like okay. Then it changes the whole movie the next time you watch it.
Yeah, because you
in a negative way.
Else.
Yeah, and you already know it.
Yeah, but for me, with Scorsese, I get it all in 1 3-hour film.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it is 3 hours. Yeah, yeah. Take out a half day, half day of leave from work to watch it. But awesome, man. Well, hey, is there any other movies you kind of want to mention or?
Not for this topic.
Yeah. So me and Matt were talking. We kind of want to do something like this each week. Looking at kind of how this format went, we'll probably break it up. So we'll probably have more of the industry talk and everything like that on, with the Tvshka Talks and things specific to that. And then me and Matt may be doing something film-wise elsewhere. And so we'll definitely be, kind of working on our craft. Upgrading our equipment and unmuting ourselves whenever we open up the video. Did you watch the intro?
I didn't. Oh
my gosh, man. Embarrassing, but hey, you get your
first time.
It was live, man. It was a good spill. I was rolling with it. I mean, I'm gonna try it again at the end of this, but man, I was knocking out. I'm like, yeah, awesome, cool. Now this guy, bring him up, and he's like, I can't hear you. I'm like, crap. I was muted the whole time. But yeah, rookies. What can you say, man? I'm new. But awesome. Hey, man, Matt, thank you so much, brother.
Appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah. What are you gonna be doing, man? You gonna be hopping on some Call of Duty? You gonna be doing any streaming or anything in the future?
Probably playing. I got a huge watch list, man.
You got a watch list? Yeah.
You keep recommending movies to me. Like I watch a bunch of YouTubers. They have recommendations.
Yeah.
I just go off that. Like I told you a couple weeks ago, I watched Training Day for the first time. And Man on Fire.
Right.
Those were phenomenal.
Right.
Like, yeah. How did I miss those? Like going through high school is like,
yeah,
eye opener.
Yeah. So we may be trying to do some things with maybe Netflix watch party. We also may be doing, just kind of like watch alongs where, we start the movie at the same time together and just kind of chat, kind of during it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I really like, there's a few movies I really want to watch with you just to kind of see like your reaction and because like a lot of times and we assume people have seen something and, and we kind of forget like, oh man, like, and even like with Shutter Island, you watch it and you're like, holy crap, I want to see how somebody else experiences it. Because once you do experience something, it's kind of like, well, it may not necessarily dampers, your enjoyment of it, but you almost want to kind of see like, okay, like how do I really feel about this movie? I want to see how somebody else watches it and kind of experiences it. And so there's a couple of movies that are like that for me. Mm-hmm. Like I love it, but I want to really see, if it's something that, other people like, or if it's just something that's so personal to me. But yeah. So we'll definitely be talking, brother. Yes. Thank you to yourself and to Carmel for allowing you to spend some time with us, and we'll catch you on this flip side, brother.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. It was fun.
All right. We'll see you, man. Have a good one. All right. Round one done, guys. Thank you all so much. Who is sticking around? Looks like my mom's still on the stream. The 3 people. Hey, yeah, thank you guys so much for sticking around through, some of the flubs at the beginning. But what I was saying in the beginning, I will try to do this again. My name is Jonathan Calloway, aka Johnny Calloway, aka Tvshka. Tvshka is a Choctaw for warrior. And so that's the name my dad, gave me whenever I was getting deployed. And so that's kind of a little bit of a moniker I kind of use. So we have, Tvshka Productions. And, what we're looking to do is just kind of test out a lot of equipment, maybe not go overload with, videos and contents and things of that nature, but just, kind of get a better feel for it, because we want to help other people achieve those dreams. So if you're somebody that was looking to do podcasting, or you're looking to do kind of YouTube streaming and such, reach out to us. We want to help you out in that process. Maybe, direct you some good tools, to kind of tell you our experience. Because right now we're going through Streamlabs, and Streamlabs I actually really do dig. And Mark Thomas, it does happen, man. Yeah. Give me a smiley T-shirt, Forrest Gump's wearing on that one. But we're going through Streamlabs, and I'll kind of pull up some of their branding here for y'all. And it's a free program. It's all through their website, and you just pay to be able to put on your own custom. But yeah, so follow us, please. As we're progressing, as we're upgrading our equipment, we want to be able to give you guys content, bring on guests maybe that you like. I really hope you all got something from, Adam Roberts with Screenland Armor Theater, and then also from Josh Watts and Alex there with Athenium Group. I had a great time chatting with them about the industry and what it looks like for them during this COVID season. I definitely want to thank Matt, my good friend from high school, that stopped by to chat and talk about our movies and the reason why we love movies in general. I mean, it's escapism, and so right now through this COVID situation in the season, we want to give you some movies to watch. So check below. We're going to, in the description, we're going to be putting down our list of movies so that you can reach out, kind of research them and find them and watch them. And let us know. Let us know what you think. Let us know which ones you like. I really want to hear, people's opinion on Sunshine. I love that movie. Maybe not everybody does, but yeah. Anyways, so you guys can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Mixer, Periscope, tons of other stuff. Main thing, just reach out to us. Tvshka Productions. At Tvshka Pro on Twitter, because they wouldn't allow us to put the full name. But thank you guys so much for being a part of this. We're going to try to do this once a week. Next week, we're going to do music, where we're going to have a couple of guests. Some of them are, showrunners for musicians and bands. Other ones are musicians and themselves. And just kind of see, what people are doing these days in COVID-19 season, how it's affecting their business and industry, and what the future looks like. We're not going to be the same people coming out of this. We're all going through a trauma together, but at the same time, we are developing new habits. What is the impact going to have on music? And so, stick around with us. Like and share everything if you can, and if you want to help support us, if you want me to get a better camera, because I kind of do. And some other additional equipment, you can help support us by going to streamlabs.com/Tvshka Productions. Now, Tvshka is Tvshka. The V is because with the Choctaw traditional spelling, we use the Greek alphabet where there was no U. So Tvshka Productions. Make sure you pluralize that sucker. And with that, I will bid you all adieu. Thank you all so much. I'm going to try to figure out how to end this stream smoothly, but I need my music. There we go. Hey, thank y'all. Take care.